Hello, everyone, and welcome to our conversation tonight. Tonight, we're talking about four common reasons why women give up on their dreams, their goals, and their innermost desires. I'm Coach Duquesitine, and tonight I'll be sharing with you from an outline of points that I've put down. So periodically, if you see me look, I'm making sure that I don't leave anything out because this is all so important information that I really would like to share with you. So we're going to be talking about those four common reasons why women give up on their goals or may not discover their dreams tonight. My bold promise to you is within the next 50 minutes or so, we may spend an hour together. Within the next 50 minutes, we're going to be talking about exactly what it takes to get unstuck and how to own your destiny with confidence. This conversation is designed to help anyone who is ready to take action get out of their own way and start to build confidence so that they can boldly claim their dreams. Now, I want to ask you to fully commit to our time together over the next few minutes. As a matter of fact, the very first thing I'd like to ask you to do is to give StreamYard permission to use your name. I really hope to develop a dialogue with you tonight as we go through these four common reasons why women give up on their dreams. The second thing I'd like to encourage you to do is to put away your phone. I want you to be fully focused and vested in the time that we have together. Girl, you deserve this time and you deserve this information. If you are on your laptop, I am going to encourage you not to switch through tabs and miss any important information. So be sure that you are in a quiet spot so that you could soak up all of the goodness that we are about to talk about tonight. I hope that you are excited to be here because I want you to know that I am super excited to be here and to share this information with all of you. So, just a quick tidbit about who I am for those of you who may not know. I help women evolve into the women that they were born to be and to step into the lives that they have always dreamed of. I'm a certified public speaker, a four-time published author, a self-development mentor, and a mother of two, Bahamas beach lover. Yes, I live in the Bahamas and I love it here. Here in the Bahamas, my business has many tracks. In the corporate world, I've worked with leading businesses like the Central Bank of the Bahamas, Bahamar, Deltec Bank and Trust, Going Places, Travel, BAF Financial, the Bahamas Development Bank, Nassau Airport Development Company. I mean, you name it, I've probably touched that business in some way or form. We'll be here all night if I were to start naming all of the places that I've worked here in the Bahamas with customer service, leadership, and strategy. Outside of that, I work with women, helping them to move from where they are to where they want to be by way of the platform of the Evolving Woman magazine, Facebook community, as well as the Evolving Woman Annual Summit. I am president of a nonprofit for young children and teens, where we help to develop leadership skills, self esteem skills, and self value skills. I am also president of the GD Caring and Sharing Cancer Support Group. It is a support group helping women learn to thrive after cancer. And so today I will say to you that as you listen to all of the things that I do in life, you may say Duquesa has a pretty good life. And I'll agree with you. Today, I do have a pretty good life, but it hasn't always been this way. Maybe later on in our conversation, I'll share some of my journey and some of my stories with you. But I do vividly recall a time in my life where I struggled for many years and even had a near death experience. My life has never been picture perfect. And as a matter of fact, I actually hit rock bottom and crashed about 16 or 17 years ago. We'll talk about that later. But I want to present a truth to you. And this is what I believe holds so many of us back as women. And the truth is, it's time to ditch the baggage. What does it mean and what does it look like to ditch the baggage? Well, the first thing to ditching your baggage is in identifying where you are. Where are you currently? Are you living the life that you envisioned for yourself when you were younger? Are you in your dream career, your dream relationship? Do you have your dream family? Like, where exactly are you? Because knowing is half of the battle. And so once you've identified where you want to go, it is now important. I'm sorry, when you've identified where you are, it is then important to identify where you want to go. That's how we give our lives purpose by knowing what it is we are pursuing. These can be goals, aspirations, and even dreams. But we have to know where we want to go. Where we are is our starting point. Where we want to go will continue to evolve over time because the journey of life is just that. We never get to a destination. We continue on our journey. But in the beginning, we have to identify a place that we want to be that's different from the place that we are in today. The third thing that we need to do is to identify how to move forward. How do we get from where we are to the place that we want to be? This is the place of execution. And I dare say that this is actually the place where many people struggle because we know where we are, we know where we want to be, but oftentimes we're not certain of how to get there. We're not certain of the steps that we need to take because we look so much at the big picture, which can become overwhelming. If any of this is resonating with you, please let me know in the comments. And so, as we look at the big picture, it can become overwhelming to identify how to move forward. As a matter of fact, we also need to identify, as a part of looking how to move forward, we should identify the people that we need to be connected with, the skills and talents that we need to groom, grow, and develop, the network that we may need to build as we start and continue on our journey. So, identifying how to move forward is the painstaking work that has to be done to help map out the process of moving. And I can give you a 100% guarantee that if you map the process out and take action, it's going to be easier to achieve your dreams and your goals. Because when you hit a road bump, it's easy to go back to the plan to recalibrate. And the fourth and final thing I'd like to encourage you to do as it relates to ditching the Bible, the baggage, is to be willing to do the work consistently. Yes, consistently means that we're not expecting a microwave approach. Consistently means that we're doing it on a schedule that allows us to show up time over time. For some people, that may be daily. For other people, that may be twice a week. For other people, that may be three times a week, weekly. You have to establish for yourself what consistency or consistently taking action looks like to you. When we plot our dreams and goals, many times we make the mistake of thinking that automatically, as we take action, we are going to accomplish those dreams and those goals. But consistency and self discipline are the keys that will get us from where we are to where we actually want to be. No lies detected. Thank you so very much for that comment. Miss Judy, I see you there saying it's time to ditch the baggage because it is time to ditch the baggage. Now, I know you all came tonight for the four common reasons why women give up on their dreams and their goals. So, without any delay, I am going to jump right into our conversation and start out because we already identified that we have to ditch the baggage. Miss Judy's put it there in our comments. We have to ditch the baggage. That's not even one of our 4 points. The first thing, the first reason, and I really, really, really would like your involvement in this conversation, because the first thing that causes us to give up on our dreams and our goals is disappointment. Type it for me, please, in the comments, right? Type that first point for me, disappointment. Now, disappointments happen in life. We all experience them. From the time that we were growing up through every single season of our lives, we experience disappointment. Now, here's what I'd like to ask you to do. I'd like to ask you to just pause for a moment and think about the very first time you were disappointed. Now, remember, I asked you to be fully invested in tonight's conversation. So don't just go to the surface. I want you to think back and go back to the place, and I'm going to pause for a moment to allow you to go back to that place and time where you experienced your first disappointment. Now, if you are comfortable in this safe space, sharing that, go ahead and type it in the comment section. Type and share with us the very first time that you experienced disappointment. How old were you at that particular time? And if you feel comfortable enough, share with us just a snippet of what it is that caused you to feel disappointed. I'm going to pause for a moment to allow you to really think and write it out. Now, if you're not comfortable writing it in the comments, then please make sure that you have a piece of paper and a pen so that you can write it down, because we're going to come back to it momentarily. So I'm going to pause for 30 seconds to allow you to consider the very first time that you experienced disappointment. All right. Now, the very first time that you experienced disappointment, I'm 100% certain that you had some feelings. Disappointment causes us to get in our feelings, and those feelings um, could have been a number of things, but I don't want to start with your first time being disappointed. I want to pause for you right now to consider the second time that you were disappointed. How old were you? And what did that disappointment feel like? What did it feel like? So at the age of 9, I see Ashanti is sharing with us that at the age of 9, not receiving any gifts for Christmas. Ashanti, at 9 years old, not receiving any gifts for Christmas would have been a major blow. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So, guys, Ashanti has shared with us her very first time. Now, I want you to think about the second time that you experienced disappointment. How old were you when you experienced your disappointment? And perhaps one or two lines about what that disappointment was. I'm not going to rush through our learning tonight. So I'm going to pause just for 30 seconds again to allow you to consider the second time that you experienced disappointment in your life. I'm just going to pause to allow you the opportunity to really think. Pause, think, and now respond. So I see Judy is saying that disappointment was when she was made redundant on her last job about 30 years ago. And then she had another disappointment when she miscarried in 1981 at the age of 29. Miss Judy, they are two very difficult experiences in life to get over. Wanting to have your child and going through the process of conceiving and having the news that you've lost your child is heartbreaking. And also being made redundant from a job can hit you at the core of who you are as well. Thank you so much for sharing. So that's the first time, and that's the second time. Now, this third time, I'm not going to ask you to share with me, but I want you to bring it to mind. The third time that you experienced disappointment in your life, what was that disappointment around? You don't have to share it with me. I just want you to think about it, right? Because in reality, we all experience disappointment. When we're younger, those disappointments hit us at the core of who we are. And as we get older, we learn to deal with disappointments in different ways. So, as you consider the third time that you were disappointed, um, I can guarantee you that there was a fourth time, there was a fifth time, and there was a sixth time. Let me know in the comments if I'm right or if I'm wrong. But disappointments happen all through our lives. And so, with disappointments happening consistently, and if there are patterns with people that we love, for example, if we're constantly disappointed by our parents, if we're constantly disappointed by the people that we work with, if we are constantly disappointed by our spouses and our lovers, then there are some underlying messages that we create for ourselves. Because when disappointment becomes a habit, it can trick us into believing some things. First of all, it can trick us into believing that we're not worthy. It can trick us into believing that we weren't worthy enough for someone to sacrifice hard enough to give us a gift for Christmas. It could have been a chocolate wrapped in Christmas paper, right, Ashanti? It could have been on that job where you were made redundant. That disappointment could have turned into it could have turned into not being worthy enough to be employed at that establishment. And so disappointment can trick us into feeling like we're not worthy. Secondly, thank you, Tamara. When we have had too many disappointments, that's a serious thing. I appreciate you all being here with me tonight and for commenting. And see, Ashanti is saying, that's right. Even if it was a chocolate wrapped in Christmas paper, it's the thought that counts, right? And so disappointment can lead us into believing that we're not worthy. Disappointment can cause us to question whether we're smart enough. Was I not smart enough to be on this job? Was I not smart enough to be one of the people that stayed as a part of that organization? Uh, is was it that I wasn't smart enough for somebody to notice me? What is it about me that made them not come through for me? It can also trick us into believing that we're not enough, that who we are as individuals was not enough for somebody to recognize and to put in a greater effort. This can cause us to prepare more. It means that we go into overdrive. See me here, I am worthy. We begin to work for performance. Absolutely, Miss Judy, that you are not worthy enough. And so we go into performance for praise now because we want people to see us. See me, look at me, acknowledge me, accept me, don't disappoint me because I will perform so that you don't disappoint me. Anybody know what I'm talking about? It can also cause us to be very self critical. When we are disappointed consistently over and over and over and over again, we start to question ourselves. Let's stick a pin for a moment. I'm not talking about the times that we disappoint ourselves. That's something different. I'm talking about the times that other people have disappointed us and we begin to be self critical. What is it about me? Maybe if I had just done 10% more. Fearing that we are not enough is a deception. Absolutely, Dr. Michelle. Absolutely. And seeking approval is right. Ashanti, thank you so much for letting us know that you can relate. And so disappointment can cause us to become self critical. Now, I have not even started a conversation about when we doubt ourselves. My conversation has only been about when other people have disappointed us and not when we've disappointed ourselves. When other people disappoint us, we turn that inward and we begin to blame ourselves. So, disappointment is the first thing that causes us to give up, forget, or throw away our dreams and our goals. The third thing, yes, oh, Dr. Michelle, you hit me tonight, placing our stock in the perspective of others. Absolutely. Now, The second thing I want to talk about tonight, as it relates to what causes women to give up on their dreams and their goals, is discouragement. Think again. I want you to think again and go back to the place where you were first discouraged. Was it when you bought your report card home and it wasn't all A's? Was it when you were not as smart as your sibling and so your sibling got more praise than you did? Was it a time in your life when you wholeheartedly loved someone and they took that love and took advantage of that? Or was it when you didn't get enough opportunities on your job? You were blacklisted, you were not given the opportunity to be promoted. What was the time in your life when you experienced discouragement and what caused it? It could have come from things like ideas being rejected. You know, we are brilliant women. We show up in brilliant spaces and we sit among some of the sharpest minds. And as we sit at those tables contributing and our ideas are not recognized, accepted, or tested, we can feel rejected. And when we feel rejected, that discouragement will cause us to say, well, the next time I go in that room, I am not going to share because my thoughts, my ideas are not valued. It could also be for the fact that you've applied for promotion after promotion after promotion, but for some reason you're not getting that promotion. And so you go inward again, that you're not valued, that you're not seen, that you're not worthy. And so, because of that, your performance on your job may suffer, which is like the knife cutting off your nose, because as your performance declines, so there's the opportunity to be promoted in the future. Thank you so much again, Dr. Michelle and Tamara. I hear you, girl, that you have experienced everything that I've said so far. I am sending you all sorts of love at the moment. Toxic love relationships can discourage us. I don't know about you, but I can tell you from the age of 13 to about 26, one of the things that I looked for, longed for, and wanted was to be loved by somebody else. And during those years, my self value and self esteem had not been properly nurtured. And so I felt inwardly as if I was not enough. And so who we are is who we will attract. So tell me, who do you believe I started to attract? I started to attract people who did not treat me as if I was worthy, as if to reinforce to me that I was not enough. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Don't leave me out here hanging out, right? Do you know what I'm talking about? And so, toxic love relationships can wear us down, where we give our hearts, we give our all, we give our souls, we give our bodies to various partners with the hope that they would love us and that they would accept us. But instead, they abuse us, they are unfaithful to us, they are not contributing, and the less they do, the more we do. And so we are discouraged when they don't do what we expect. Tamara, I appreciate you, girl, not leaving me out here alone. Ashanti, thank you so much as well. And so all of those things cause us to experience a sense of worthlessness. Absolutely, Dr. Michelle. Hurt people. However, hurt people also attract hurt people. So that cycle of hurting is just a continuous one. Now, let's pause for a moment because, like I said, I don't want to rush through our training tonight, right? So, when you consider disappointments, which is the first thing that we say, this is the reason why women give up on their dreams and their goals. And then, when you consider discouragement, and you combine discouragement and disappointment, you get disillusionment. I'm laughing, but it's not funny because disillusionment is what took me to my bathroom floor with a bottle of Motrin and a gallon of orange juice, contemplating taking my life. Being disillusioned in life is a dark place to be. It means that we've lost so much hope. Being disillusioned means that we're not able to see out of the dark hole or the dark valley that we are sitting in. And so many years ago, when I sat in disillusionment on my bathroom floor, ready to take my own life, I came into the realization that I was on my bathroom floor as a result of the combination of choices and decisions that I made in my life. And while I could sit on my bathroom floor and blame everybody else, I could say that my daddy wasn't in my life. I didn't meet him until I was 13. I could say that I worked on jobs that sucked the life out of me. I could say that I had so many broken relationships. I could say that I was a troubled teen who ran away from home, who people said would never amount to anything. I could sit in victimhood all I wanted to. But it isn't until we take ownership by acknowledging that when we give tacit approval to people, things, and situations in our lives, we have made a choice. Tacit approval simply means that we made no decision. And making no decision is a decision in itself. Ashanti, thank you for letting me know that I'm not alone. I appreciate you tonight, sis. I appreciate you so much. Being at the place of brokenness where you're considering taking your own life is a difficult place to be. So I appreciate you letting me know that I was not alone. Disillusionment can really trick us into believing that the future can't be right or bright, that there is no hope for us. Disillusionment can cause us to sit in victimhood and look at every possible reason outside of us why we are in the situation that we're in. Disillusionment can cause us to cast blame so that we don't go inward and look at ourselves to determine how our choices have directed our destinies. I want you to know that your dreams are possible, that your life has purpose, even though disillusionment may make you feel as if life is purposeless. Because I don't know about you, but there's been a time in my life when I questioned the purpose of life. What's the point? We live and we die. And then we have all of these experiences, hard experiences in between. But if we focus on the hard experiences without looking at the moments of joy and celebration, then we stay stuck. And so disillusionment can also make us feel as if we're boxed in. Like there is this box around us and we cannot get out. And this is where our feelings of unworthiness stem from a place of being disillusioned, disappointment, and being discouraged in life. So we've covered 2 points so far: disappointment and discouragement, which leads to disillusionment. The third point, or the third reason why women give up on their dreams and goals, is a lack of confidence. Self confidence is the single most important determining factor for success. In order for us to be successful in life, we have to believe in ourselves. We have to believe in our dreams, in our visions, in the possibilities. But if we are covered by disappointment and discouragement and disillusionment and lack confidence, then we will shy away from every opportunity presented to us to get our dreams and our goals. Disillusionment impacts our confidence because let's just be real. There are only so many times a particular thing can happen to you before you tap out. Let me know if that's true. I'm sure it's not just me. Right? Something can happen to you maybe up to 3 times. And then you're going to say, that's it, and get numb to that particular situation so that it no longer impacts your heart. So, disillusionment, discouragement, and disappointment helps us to sit in lack of confidence. Now, this lack of confidence could be as a result of a number of reasons. It could be that we weren't nurtured as children. And I'm going to tell you, I just want to be really straight up with you. The more difficult a childhood you've had, the more difficult it is to get over disappointment, disillusionment, discouragement, and to build your confidence. If your confidence was not solidified as a child? Because go back to the place where you were a toddler. Just go with me. Just go with me back to the place where you were a toddler. And Tamara is saying that this is very true. Judy is saying, yes, after so many times, you just want to give up. And Ashanti is saying, just had enough of it. And so we tap out, right? But let's stick with confidence for a minute. Go back to the place where you were a toddler, or perhaps if you are a parent, think about the time that your children were toddlers and their curiosity took the best of them. As children, when they were learning to walk, they fell down, and what did they do? When they were crawling and then they got up and they took two steps and they fell down, what did that child do? And they got up again, they took more steps, they fell down, they got up again. Children will go and climb the highest tree, and us parents, we're on the ground frightened, but they're not afraid. My granddaughter just jumps in the pool, and I'm like, what? I'm sitting there terrified. But the confidence of a toddler before he or she is to the age where parents believe that those children should know better or do better and begin to be more highly critical, they are rocking confidence. They are fierce. They just don't see fair. And all of us had that same degree of confidence. However, over time, experience can break down our confidence, particularly if our confidence is built on a shaky foundation. What are some of the things that causes our confidence to be shaky? Well, when we operate outside of our strength or passion zones. You ever had to work in an area on your job that you know is your weakness? I mean, you go to work to operate in your strength, and you are asked to work in an area of your weakness where there is a steep learning curve. How do you feel? You feel frustrated, you feel incompetent, you feel lack of confidence as you begin to build those skills because it's not something that you are passionate about or strong in. So when we have to operate in areas of uncertainty over and over and over again, and we're not building our skills, then it hits at our confidence and we begin to question ourselves. Secondly, when we listen to what other people have to say about us, y'all will hear me say it over and over and over again. And I love to say it, this Town ghetto raised girl was told that she would never amount to anything. And I love to say it. And I will tell you that when I look in the mirror and see the person that I am today, I have a huge smile on my face. However, for a very long time, I lived up to the words that were spoken over my life. Type in the comments for me and let me know some of the words that were spoken over your life. Because when those words sink into our consciousness, into our psyche, we begin to believe what we have been told, and we believe and act from the place of our belief. I want you to take note of this. Write this somewhere. Every action stems from a belief. Every inaction stems from a belief. So whatever we believe is the place that we will take action from. And absolutely, Miss Judy, not even a desire to go to work. So when people have spoken negatively over our lives and we allow that to sink in, it impacts our confidence, which is why we have to spend time retraining what we've learned and throwing some of those voices outside of our heads. The next thing is that negative self talk. We give everybody else grace. We will give that man that breaks our hearts 10 times. We will forgive him over and over and over and over and over again and give him grace. We will forgive our kids for trampling over us over and over and over and over and over again. We will forgive our friends. We'll forgive our families. Absolutely, Dr. Michelle. Self-fulfilling prophecies. We must begin to extend grace to ourselves. We're not going to be perfect. We're not going to be perfect. And so what we say to ourselves is important. I used to be hugely critical of myself. I used to hate these big D and I's. I used to hate this big belly that's sitting in front of me. When I say I fat now, people laugh at me. I have this little belly, and I talk about the fact that this is my baby belly and my baby 29, okay? But I was very critical of my body, so much so that I couldn't love it. It wasn't until I started thanking my body for the functions that it provides. I thanked my abdomen area for carrying both of my children and leaving me with the beauty scars that remind me that I am a warrior mother. I thank my body for helping me to breathe and allowing oxygen to go to my cells. I appreciate the computer mind that I'm possessed with that keeps me up at night sometimes. So I had to switch what I was saying to myself about myself. And once I started switching it about who I thought I was physically, I began to change my thoughts about who I was as an individual. First and foremost, I had to remind myself every single day that I am a child of the Most High God. And just by being a child of the Most High God, I am worthy. I had to stand in the mirror and I had to tell myself that beauty with brains, that's just brilliance. Okay. And so acknowledging the fact that my mind is what makes room for me, speaking these things out loud. As a matter of fact, Dr. Michelle sent me some affirmations, and I have them right here, Dr. Michelle. I want you to know. And very often I come to these affirmations. One of my favorite affirmations is from John 15:16. And Michelle, this is what you sent to me. You did not choose me, Duquesa, but I chose you and ordained you that you should go forth and bring forth fruit and that your fruit shall remain. I have it circled. I speak these words, these prophecies over my life. Matthew 5:14, Dr. Michelle. You, Duquesa, you are the light of the world. If we switch over to the next page, another one circled. 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given you a spirit of fear, Duquesa, but a spirit of power and love and of a sound mind. Every single page, Dr. Renshaw, I want you to know that I have circled every one of these that speak to me in every single day. You see how quickly I pull this out? I speak in and over my life because our self talk drives our beliefs, which will drive our action. So that's the third thing. So I want to ask you this question as I get to move into our fourth and final point. And that question is, how did you build your confidence? Was it that your parents helped you to develop your confidence? Or are you still in need of reinforcement? Do you still need some support as it relates in being confident enough to show up in all of your brilliance? Being confident enough to say, listen, I'm not concerned about what society has dictated my life should be. Because society has said that we should grow up, we should go to school, we should go to college, we should get married, then we should have children. Every time we accomplish one thing, society is there. Okay, you got married. When's the baby? When's the next baby? This is what society is dictating. But is it truly what you want for your life? What if you want to focus on your career? What if you want to focus on getting a higher education before you go into getting your family? What if you want to be an entrepreneur and not go after this career? Because let me tell you, when I was working in the corporate world and I told my mom I was about to leave that corporate world to work for myself, chick almost had a heart attack. And she was so frightened that I allowed her fright to keep me on a job in the corporate world for 1 year longer than I intended. Look how powerful that is. Because I didn't want my mom to worry, I gave her peace and I continued to be tormented. And it wasn't until I recognized and realized that one day I won't be here. So, will I choose to make somebody else happy? Or will I choose to really focus on what brings me the most joy and having the confidence to step into that? So, sometimes our parents do us a disservice by comparing us to our siblings or to our neighbors or somebody else's kids. But look at John's daughter. John's daughter is doing so and so. Don't compare me to John's daughter. And let's just be frank. We don't even know what's going on in John's house. So comparison also helps to eat away at our confidence because the grass always looks greener until you get there. And then sometimes our confidence takes a hit because in order for us to receive love, acceptance, belonging, recognition, or award, we have to work hard for it. So it is performance based, which takes us again back to the place of unworthiness, not being enough. And so that's not even starting with life events. When we have divorce, when we have trauma, and trauma could be anything from we were children. We could have trauma from our parents. We could have trauma from people that should have nurtured us who actually took advantage of us. We could have trauma, a car accident. We could have broken relations. It could be so many things. Parenting and lack of parenting, bullying at school, bullying at work, harassment, because you are a particular gender, there are certain limitations that are placed on you. There are those glass ceilings for us women that's so hard to break through, and it hits our confidence. All of these limits. And so that's the third thing, lack of confidence. Yes, Miss Judy, absolutely. Other people can hold us hostage to our present situation. Absolutely. Now, the fourth and final point that we're going to talk about tonight, why women give up on their dreams and their goals, is because we settle. Now, I saved the hardest one for last. We have the habit of settling, women. We settle and we put everybody else's needs ahead of us. When the children are older, we'll leave a toxic relationship. When the children are older, we'll further our relationship. We'll further our education. When the children are older, we'll pursue our dreams and our goals. So we settle into this life that we really don't enjoy because we're putting the needs and wants of other people ahead of ours. The analogy that it's often used when you go on an airplane and in the event of some major catastrophe about to happen, the airbags are going to drop, and who do they tell you to put that airbag on first? You. Because when you can breathe, then you can safely help someone else. When we settle in life, we give up the things that are true to our hearts. Settling is also the place of where we have probably forgotten some of our dreams and our goals because life events have hit us so hard that we're just giving up. I'm just going to sit here on this job because I don't have it in me anymore. My fight is gone. So I'm just going to sit here and do this every day because to do anything else requires too much of me. Settling is also where we step into self preservation. We go into this and we put on the mask of numbness. We're no longer feeling life. We're no longer experiencing joy at the rate that we should be. We're no longer, in our passion, feeling alive and feeling vibrant because we've closed off parts of us so that we can exist in a world that has proven to us that we're not worthy, that we're not enough, that what we want is impossible because we get knocked down over and over and over and over. And because life beats us down, we get to the place of settling. Anybody know what I mean? Settling is that point where we give it all up, where we say enough is just enough. I don't want to hurt anymore. I don't want to experience pain anymore. I don't want to apply for the promotion anymore because I don't want to be rejected anymore. We are not living, Tamara. Absolutely. We're just existing. And this existence is just routine. We wake up and we do the same things over and over and over again. And it brings us no joy because we are so afraid to take action again. We put our lives on hold for sure, Miss Judy, for our children, for our family, and we settle. So those are the four common reasons why women give up on their dreams and their goals. The first is disappointment. The second is discouragement. And when you combine disappointment and discouragement, you get disillusionment. The third is lack of confidence. And the fourth is that we settle. Most of our disappointment, discouragement, lack of confidence, and settling, most of those beliefs can be traced to our childhood. Something happened during the course of our upbringing, and it isn't just one thing. Many things happen over the course of our upbringing that started this little crack that became wider and wider as we went into the world. Yes, Miss Judy, we settled. And Tamara is saying, yes, I know that feeling of settling in a place that we think is safe. And so from we were children, we had these little cracks in us. Because I don't know about you, but I can only tell you about my experience. I didn't have parents that soothed my pain. When I fell down and I got up, I may have gotten responses from family members if I was 8 or 9 that said, "Girl, get up and stop crying. You're a big girl now." Nobody grabbed me and held me and kissed me and said, "It's okay. We fall down, but we get back up." I don't know about you, but if I've had a hard day at school, there was nobody for me to go home to. I'm getting so emotional. There was nobody for me to go home to and say, "My day was so hard. My teacher was cruel." And that person would believe me without thinking that I was a troublemaker. I don't know about you, but I can go back to the place of my childhood where I shared that somebody was harming me and I was not believed. Those were cracks that were inside of me. Discouragement, disappointment, disillusionment, lack of confidence had already started from the place of my childhood. And as I entered the world and started dealing with more and more people, more and more environments, more and more situations, my self-talk became more and more negative as more and more opportunities were not given to me. You're not good enough. You're not worthy. Why even try? You may as well just stay with this man who abusing you, because if you go there, who's going to love you? You already have 2 children. Who's going to want a woman with 2 children? Self-talk and trauma. And the Black woman's trauma is so much harder and so much deeper and culturally so deep. And so that trauma is already inside of us. Simone, thank you so much. Yes, Dr. Rancher, trauma. Yes, Simone. I'm speaking about you because the things that we think are isolated to us is so common among us. And so from I was 8 and 9, I already had these cracks inside of me. And as I grew older and had more and more experiences, those cracks just got wider and wider and wider. And I tried so hard to find something outside of me to soothe me, to heal me, to put this balm inside of me that would make me feel that I belonged, that I was worthy, that I was lovable, and that with someone else, I could build a good future. There was no dialogue that said to me that who I am or who I was at that point was big enough to create my dreams. And that's why I want to come tonight and a few other nights to have these conversations with you, because we have to heal the cracks that are no longer cracks, but they are now craters. And so, Dr. Rancher, yes, we are more alike than we know or even care to admit. Many of us are walking around with volcanoes ready to erupt, and we're doing the best that we can to keep the lid and the cap on that volcano. And the more we cap that volcano, the more pain we experience inside of us. which manifests itself as disease and sickness and mental illness because we are trying so hard to mask our pain. I want to tell you that while I was becoming, because today I am, but there was a period of time where I was becoming who I am today. And during the process of becoming, I was a parent. And there's one thing that I know, that I was not the best parent because I was learning as I was parenting. And so I recognized more and more as I became into the person that I am today. And as grounded as I am today, I recognize that there were some mistakes that I made as a parent because I can only speak to Black culture because, hey, I'm Black, right? Black culture is not as affirming, it's not as affectionate, it's not as loving, it's not as embracing as it can be. We are taught to be strong, to be hard, to take our lessons and to just keep on ticking without getting help and resolving the issues that sit inside of us. And so I made many mistakes as a parent. And as a matter of fact, I practiced many of the toxic parental actions that we find in our community. But here's what I had to do. Once I came into the realization, when I became, because I now am, I had to go back to help my children heal from the trauma that they experienced as a result of me not being a well rounded, self confident woman that had strong values, strong beliefs, and strong esteem. And sitting down and just having the conversation and saying, I admit that I made some mistakes. And I made those mistakes because I thought that I was doing the right thing for you, has done so much to heal my children. When we are able to admit the mistakes, when we're able to acknowledge that we've done some things that needed to have been done better, and then begin to nurture those relationships, we do our children a great service. So if you're here tonight, sitting in this conversation or catching the replay, where we're talking about the 4 common reasons why women give up on their dreams and their goals, and you have a daughter, and you know, or even a son, and you know that through the process of becoming who you are today, or as you are building to the person that you will be in the future, your cracks became craters and your craters spilled into your parental relationships. I want to challenge you to heal them because your children are broken inside, just as mine were. And so I want to encourage you to help them heal their cracks before their cracks also become craters. But how do you now restore yourself? Because restoration is what's necessary for us to do away with disappointment and disillusionment and discouragement and lack of confidence and settling. Restoration of the whole man is now a requirement because when we know better, we do better. And yes, Miss Judy, we allow people to talk us out of our dreams and we start to pretend, but we can only pretend to other people because inside of us, we know the truth. So let me quickly give you a few ways that you can step out of those limiting situations and start stepping into your true purpose and the goals and dreams that you've had in your life. As I get into it, I want to tell you a real quick story because when I was 8 years old, I remember very vividly, this was before my primary nurturer died, sneaking outside of the back door of my grandmother's house, where I would sit on the top stair and I would look up at the stars. At 8 years old, I was assured, self assured. I was happy. My great grandmother was very much nurturing, and I had dreams. I had dreams about how I would show up in the world when I was an adult, what I wanted to be. And it always had philanthropy attached to it. And I vividly remember those dreams at 8 years old. But at the age of 26, when I was sitting on my bathroom floor with that bottle of Motrin and that container of orange juice, I could not remember a single dream because my cracks had become craters and so much garbage had been heaped inside of me that I no longer recognized, remembered, or had the capacity to dream. Simone, listen to me, girlfriend. We fail, but it's in taking the lessons from our failures and allowing those lessons to help us to do better in the future. And so I celebrate you tonight for doing better with your younger kids. And I want to challenge you to take it a step further and step into restoration with your older kids. As hard as it may be to admit to them that you did some wrongs, if you just open that conversation, I guarantee you that healing can begin. So let me quickly give you these things to do to help step out of those four things that take us away from our dreams and our goals. The first thing I want to encourage you to do is to be vulnerable with yourself and others. Miss Judy shared earlier that we pretend, we fake, we put on a persona. We become chameleons in environments that we do whatever the environment requires of us at the moment. And today I want to ask you to step out of that. I want to ask you today to become vulnerable with yourself. Allow yourself to feel your pain. No longer mask your pain. Get your notepad and write down every experience that has hurt you. Be vulnerable with yourself. And as you write those experiences down, acknowledge them for what they are or what they were. Acknowledge the people that hurt you. Acknowledge the opportunities that you lost. Acknowledge the emotions that you felt in every single one of those experiences. And as you begin to do that, the wells are going to open up and you're going to experience release through tears. And the more you cry, the more you're going to be able to release and let it go. So even if that means that that's a huge book that you're writing, no longer mask it, but write down that these people failed you. Write down that these experiences hurt you. Write down that you had broken dreams and broken hopes and that you were disappointed and disillusioned. Write it down and acknowledge your feelings. This is how I felt when this happened to me. And so be vulnerable with yourself. Now, if you feel safe enough to have a conversation and you want to restore with other people, you can take it a step further and let other people know how they've damaged you over the years. Now, you have to make a decision here. I vividly remember having this conversation with my mom, and that was the starting point of two of us becoming peas in a pod. Because by presenting my viewpoint to my mother of feeling abandoned because she gave me my great grandmother when I was just a baby, and being able to listen to her share that at 16 years of age, she had no idea what to do with a baby. As a matter of fact, she had often considered not even birthing me. And so she thought the best thing for me was to be given to my great grandmother who knew how to nurture and love me. And that's exactly what mother did. Giving my mother the opportunity to share with me the pain that she experienced when she got pregnant as a teenager, the struggles that she went through, the steps that she had to take to provide. Her absence meant that she was working two, sometimes three jobs to buy formula and pampers and to put me through private school. Getting the next perspective is sometimes very important. And I'm so grateful today that my mother and I had the experience where she could share her pain and she could listen to my pain. And with empathy and compassion, I could feel and sense her and forgive her and start anew a wonderful relationship that resulted in us being two peas and a pod. So you have to be able to be vulnerable with yourself and others. The second thing I want to encourage you to do is to become so secure in who you are. If you are a believer, and I respect everybody's choice, whether you are a believer or not, I respect you because I believe in the power of choice. So, whatever your belief is, please stand by that. My battery is going, so let me just very quickly put the power in. I just want to let you know that as a believer, you have to become secure in who you are. You have to believe that being here on earth is not happenstance. You're not here by accident. You're not on earth by accident. The experiences that you have had in your life are not by accident. Your experiences have been designed to push you to a purpose. And oftentimes, pain is what births purpose. And so Simone is saying that she's tried talking to her mother about the pain and the hurt she caused, but all she did was change the conversation. And she may not be ready to face that, Simone. So I celebrate you for leaving it as it is for now. Okay. She may not even be ready to face her own pain. And so you have to become so secure in the fact that your life is not happenstance. As a matter of fact, you're not here on this conversation with me by chance. You're purposed to be here just as you are purposed to be on earth. God never makes mistakes. And there are times when we operate in his permissive will, which means that we're operating outside of the will that he has for our lives. And that's where we have so many learning experiences, and those experiences can often bring us back into the will of God for our lives. And so we have to be so secure in who we are, what our values are. We have to know our vision, our mission. We have to know that we were born worthy. We don't need anybody else to affirm us, and learn to affirm ourselves so that we can show up. And this is the next step, authentic to who we are. Show up as your authentic self and let people take you or leave you. And when people leave you, don't force them to open the door to receive you again. Because when you do that, you open the door for disappointment, for discouragement, for disillusionment, for your confidence to take a hit and to settle. Take responsibility for your life. If you take nothing else from our conversation today, I want to encourage you to take responsibility. Your life, if it is happening to you, if you're sitting down and you're saying, Dukwesa, all of these things are happening to me, I want to share with you tonight that you are giving tacit approval by not making decisions, by not creating your boundaries, by not establishing your goals, by not living intentionally and purposefully. You are giving approval to anybody who misabuses you, who uses you, who discourages you. You are giving approval. And so take responsibility. If you don't get that promotion, figure out, could it be that I really need to develop my skills? And if you do, develop your skills. And if you feel that you're being held back in an organization, leave. Why would you stay? Leave and take your skills and talents somewhere where they will be received. Next, focus on self development, growth, and healing. Comfort zones cause dreams to die. If you've ever smelt stagnant water, you will know that it stinks. You will know that insects hatch in it. You will know that it gets slimy and mildewy and moldy. So if you stay in your comfort zone and stay stagnant, you become stale. Don't be afraid to heal. Crack those wounds open, dig those wounds out, apply that healing balm, and heal and seal, sis, so that you can move forward. The next thing I'm going to encourage you to do is to forgive yourself. And this was one of the hardest things for me. We have to forgive ourselves. We have to recognize where we let ourselves down and extend forgiveness. Say to yourself, go back to the place and time where you first let your little girl down. She may have been 6, she may have been 8, she may have been 13. And I'm talking about the little girl inside of you. Go back to the place where you first let her down and extend your hand to her. Allow her to put her little hand in yours and say to her, I apologize. I am so sorry for not doing better. But I make this firm commitment that moving forward, I will honor you, I will nurture you, and I will take care of you as well as protect you. Go back to that place in time. Forgive yourself and speak to her and heal her. Finally, the last thing that you can do is to take ownership of your life. It means that you're moving from sitting in victimhood and thinking all of these things are happening to you to taking ownership of creating the path that will take you to the place of living a life that you enjoy today. So often people say to Kwesa, I don't know how you do it. All of these different things you're doing. And I will tell you that I don't feel it because I've taken ownership of my life and I do the things that bring me joy. I hang out with the people that bring joy into my life. I stay away from toxic environment, stay away from toxic people. If opportunities aren't presented to me and I know that I want that opportunity, I create space for it myself. I build my own tables when access isn't granted to me. And I will continue doing that. And it requires me to stay in ownership of my decisions and my life. And that's what I want to encourage you to do today. We often think that our success is conditional on other people, other things, other people giving us access and other opportunities. Our success is really conditional on our self belief and on the actions that we take. You have to believe that who you are is worth it, that who you are is deserving, that who you are is lovable, that who you are deserves a place, that who you are is worthy of being paid your worth, that who you are. I want you to say it right now with me. I am. Because when you say I am, you stand in all of who you are and you make space for you to continue to grow. So please just type in the comments as we make way to leave tonight one thing that resonated most with you from our conversation tonight. Just one thing, share with me in the comments as we make preparation to conclude tonight's live. Now, if you'd like more support in your journey, I encourage you to register for my upcoming free masterclass that's starting this week, Thursday. This masterclass is about 6 ways to take ownership of your life. We just talked about taking ownership. So I want to give you 6 ways to take ownership of your life. We're going to spend an hour every Thursday during the month of November where we talk about how you can go from being a victim into taking ownership of your life, from being stuck into taking action, from not knowing where you want to be to identifying the place that you'd like to be in the future. So if you'd like to join me, I'm going to drop the link that you can register here. And so I see Ashanti is saying her greatest takeaways are self worth and self love. I see Ashanti is saying build your own table. I see Simone is saying hope and self love. I see Judy is saying I am slowly building my table, my own table, as I take ownership of my life. And so, ladies, I've placed the link right in the comment section if you want to register for the upcoming Overwhelmed Ownership Masterclass. You can join me. It's absolutely free of charge. It just requires you to give 1 hour of your time every Thursday during the month of November. Now, I'm going to come back maybe Wednesday, and I'll be talking about what makes up fantasizers and what are the characteristics of dream builders? So if you want to join me then, please feel free to do so. And then we start our masterclass on Thursday. I appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you for the opportunity to speak into your life. Thank you for the opportunity to share these nuggets with you. And I'm so very thankful that you've taken away something from our conversation. Tamara is saying, I am worth loving myself just the way I am. And you are my sister. Take care, everyone. God bless you all, and good night.